Hello everyone, for this video we prepared two puzzles that are related to Key Squares episode 1 and 2. We will display them as a picture and see if you can find out the solution for those puzzles by yourself. It's a good practice. For those who won't manage to, no worries, we prepared two videos that will explain how to win those endgames. Best of luck! Hello everyone, welcome back. As you can see, we have the setup for exercise 1. In order to solve this puzzle, we approach with a question. Which are the three key squares that white has to occupy in order to win this endgame? And as you can see in our puzzle, the white pawn is on the 4 rank on B file. If you remember, in episode 1 we had white pawn on D4, still on the 4 file. And then we had key squares C6, D6 and E6. Now in this case scenario, because the pawn is on Bravo file, we're gonna have A6, B6 and C6. So occupying any of these three key squares will give us a victory. It's still a matter of technique until we convert that in success. From all these three squares, you notice that C6 square is very close to the black king, and it's highly unlikely we won't match that square before the black side. So we'll try to move our king towards the furthest square away from the black king. So I'm going to point with fingers. If we approach once with the white king, black moves, white king's move, black goes d7, we go a4, black will take diagonal position on c6. Once we move our king to a5, you see black can no longer protect the h6 square, and then we will gain control of it. So let's follow the journey. White will move c2, e7, Bravo 3. Doesn't matter if we go d7 or d6, it's the same. King to a4, king to c6, king to a5, and now black will try to go center line. White won't push the pawn, that would be a mistake. We gain a position, and if you remember episode 1, you remember that in order to win, we had black to move, and this is our setup. Black has to move. For the technical purpose, we will push the black king towards the a file, and you'll see later. Black goes to a7, gain control of c6 square this time, very important. Black will go back to center line, then we take a position again. Now black again is trying desperately to get a draw, going to a8. We move our king to c7, our precious square that supports the last three squares for the white pawn, so he can convert. Black stays forwards. We prevent the black king with a pawn, and be very careful because there's a small trap here. If you move quick and push your pawn, you will give black a stalemate. So now what will be the right approach? We begin with king Bravo 6, only one option for black. Then we go to a6, and now if black will decide to go back, we can push the pawn, and we force the black king to get out of the way towards c7, and then finally we conquer a7, and our pawn will become a queen, and that's the victory. He cannot attack the pawn, goes back. Hello and come back. This is the solution for exercise 2. White to move. The key squares that white will have to occupy in this setup as the position progress will be f5, g5, and h5, and we'll see why. When white approaches, he will step forward the king to attack the black pawn, but black will have some ways to fight with that. So we start by moving the king to f2, and black will push his pawn forward, because he plans to exchange his pawn for white's pawn, and we know that if white will end up with a pawn on h file, it will be easier for black king to prevent his conversion, because he only has to travel straight to h8, and that will be a draw for black. Now white can try to move king to f3, but that would be a mistake, because black will push his pawn to h3, and then it will be a big struggle for white, and he will no longer be able to reach the key squares. So that's why the next good move for white will be king to g1, and black will push his pawn forward, still hoping for an exchange of pawns. We don't want to exchange our pawn again, because black king will easily reach h8. So we push forward. Be careful, do not push your pawn twice, because as we learned in episode 1 and 2, the key squares are 2 files away, 2 ranks away from the pawn. So we want to keep our pawn on g3, because that means we need to occupy the 3 key squares on rank 5. If we push our pawn to g4, we will have to occupy the 3 key squares on the 6th rank, which will be harder for us to do. Now we push our pawn, black will start approaching the key squares. I move king to h2, black continues to travel, take the black pawn, and doesn't matter if black goes f6 or f5, it will be the same end. King to h4. Now you see this f5 doesn't do any good. Black will go on the central line, and once he does that, we gain a position, and once we get a position, doesn't matter where black goes. If he goes to h6, we get control of the key square on the 5th rank f5. If black goes to f6, we gain control of h5, and the endgame will be very similar to the one in exercise 1. And now we follow the same steps like the previous video, and remember, if the black king will try to get a lucky stalemate, pushing his king towards the corner, don't forget to make the same maneuver and push the black king out of the corner, and then you convert. Thank you very much, guys. See you in the next episode, when we will learn about correspondence squares.